that just announced a brand new The Legend of Zelda game.
It's called The Legend of Zelda: Skyward Sword.
What made you decide on that subtitle?
Well, first we thought that it has to be about a sword. The story revolves around a sword. And additionally, the skies play a key element this time. To incorporate these factors, we visualized an image of a sword pointing skyward, something really symbolic. And that's where the name Skyward Sword came from.
How did this The Legend of Zelda game get started, Miyamoto-san?
When the Wii console came out, we wanted to come out with a Wii Zelda right away. So we released a Zelda for both Wii and GameCube at the same time. But we still had a lot of ideas that we could only do on Wii. So just like that, we started development for the Wii-only version.
There was a sense that we had made The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess too big. We felt like we weren't able to fully leverage its scale and, not quite package it into one solid piece. So we wanted to make sure we first built a strong foundation for the game and then create a compact yet solid playing experience.
I see. You're not saying that there were too much to enjoy, but rather you might have been able to increase the density of game elements while packaging so many stages and other ideas in this vast world.
Yeah, it's really more, it's not about game density, it's about the density of play.
There are a lot of twists and turns during development as we, bring a game together. But we tend to move forward, fueled by sheer momentum, even though we might have some doubts. During all this, we saw the release of Wii Sports Resort, which fully utilized the Wii Motion Plus accessory, and that made a huge impact on the way Wii Motion Plus is used in our game.
Is it because you saw Wii Sports Resort that the new The Legend of Zelda game will only be playable with Wii Motion Plus?
With Wii Motion Plus, you would assume that being able to swing a sword around any way you'd please, would be the way to go. And, we actually tried it. But being able to swing a sword around freely doesn't, really mean...
Being able to swing freely and it being fun are completely different things.
Yes, that's right. But I wasn't able to figure it out. We did it the freeway, but I didn't feel the effectiveness I was expecting. So, we kept working on it. However, the lack of effectiveness made it so that the foundation, on which this high-density gameplay needs to be built wasn't getting done. So before Wii Sports Resort was finished, I told the staff, we shouldn't do this Wii Motion Plus in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
You told them.
For a while, we gave up on the Wii Motion Plus accessory and went ahead without it. But when Wii Sports Resort came out, Eguchi-san, the producer, came up to me and asked me a question. He asked, since he was able to make the swordplay game work in Wii Sports Resort, why wasn't I doing the same thing in The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword?
He asked you bluntly.
Yes.
Very bluntly.
Well, I think so. Since I had already played it, I told him I agreed with him, and, then I went to talk to Miyamoto-san about it.
And what kind of position did Miyamoto-san have?
Yeah, I was the one that asked Eguchi to go say that to Mr. Aonuma, so everything was going according to plan.
So you were dancing around on the palm of Miyamoto-san.
I wasn't just making him dance. We had talked about it several times at that point, but coming from me, it wasn't persuasive. I thought we should go deeper into that desire to be able to swing your sword around with your hand freely.
Miyamoto-san, you're always very persistent when it comes to the correlation between physical experience and games.
Yeah. But this is the kind of thing that can only be done on Wii, so I see it as a chance. It's worth the effort. We have to have the confidence that if we do it right, people will see that this way is better. It's a better way to play. So once we decided to focus on the sword, we found it fun. But we also found you want to charge up your sword. We've always had a habit of using the A button to charge, but then that's going to require more button presses in the game.
Charging with the A button is standard practice in games.
Yeah, we talked about this, and we thought that you have to stop swinging. If you swing, you stop your swing at some point. And if by stopping your swing, you charge your sword, it feels very natural. And we started saying that, pressing a button to charge up, that's just weird. And then it just made sense.
With a device like the Wii Motion Plus that can detect such movement, you're able to make the sword charge while you're stopping, just like the real thing. When your team builds it out and can feel it working, that's when you know you're headed in the right direction.
When we made The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Miyamoto-san was saying he wanted to have Link raise his sword up high while riding Epona. We tried to make it work, but we weren't able to really make it feel like he was raising his sword, up in the air.
Right.
That's because we didn't have the Wii Motion Plus accessory. But, from what I just heard just now, I think it's really important to be able to hold the sword still in a fighting stance. Because you're able to do this, you can just go right into the game.
When we made Wii Motion Plus, we felt there had to be mouse-like control, too. The Wii has a pointer.
Yes, the pointer that you point to the screen.
I love the double hook shot that we had in Twilight Princess. I think it's really unique, but after you cling onto a wall and then you aim at the next spot, it takes a while each time. You lose track of the pointer. I wanted to make controls like that feel good, and be able to do things like a 3D mouse. This feature has been decided to be built into the Motion Plus when we designed it, and we made sure we implemented these two features in Zelda as well.
The way the pointer works using the Wii Motion Plus is very interesting.
Yeah, we've already done, the type of pointing that uses the sensor bar. Even though we've done that before, when we tried this new way, it felt great. But, at the same time, we were used to the old way. So, that back and forth happened for quite some time. But that being said, the term freestyle fits really well with how it works. You can control it any way you like, and it feels like, that part is already finished.
If there are people who have predetermined thoughts, that controls with the Wii Remote are good for beginners but not good for the deeper game players, I would really like those people to try out the new Zelda game.
That's right. The history of Zelda is one that, however complex the controls or how many items you have, it's really been important to be able to access those elements very simply. This goes back to the N64 era, where we assigned, different items to each of the 4 face buttons.
So the players could just select which button to push, rather than open up icons and having to choose from a list.
When you're in the middle of a heated sword battle and you instantly want to switch to a bow and arrow to shoot, well, you shoot kind of arrows from afar, so maybe in a battle you might switch to a slingshot, but you can do it, you can shoot right away.
Yeah. And, there's no confusion either. Your body will remember where the items are. So you're able to learn by the way you're holding the Wii Remote what items you're able to pull up, right away.
We have the Japanese expression that our fingers remember what to do, but now our body remembers them.
It's like you put what in, what item in what pocket.
Miyamoto-san, your EAD team's approach in making games could be defined as a team that typically focuses on creating new ways to play rather than creating a game world. Even so, when the world gets as big as The Legend of Zelda, I think the need to build out the world, the settings, and creating the scenarios, including all the details, become very important. But Miyamoto-san, you said that for this new Zelda game, you have been placing significant priority on specifically how the game will be played since the start of development.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, as we're making Zelda, I continue to discuss with Aonuma-san and the team as to why and what makes Zelda so much fun. We talk a lot about what is that flavor of Zelda. I think there's a sense of realism of being the land of Hyrule, but I think that realism comes from the characters and the details of the scene. You need a sense that you're actually doing these actions, that you're in that world. So in that sense, pushing a huge block is actually kind of absurd. You know, I don't think anybody wants to see a young man pushing giant blocks with graphics that are better than that of the GameCube.
There is no way someone could push an object bigger than him that's most likely made out of stone.
You know, and it's not like it's comedic. He's got a serious look on his face when he's doing it. But that's fun when you actually play it. It's because there's some sense of experience. You feel it.
You feel it. Word has been out that we've been working on the next Zelda game for a while, and now that it's been officially announced, and we were able to explain the controls, what you can do, and the world it takes place in, I think many people are looking forward to it. Do you have anything that you would like to say to them?
Well, you know, I've been talking about this with Miyamoto-san, and we've been throwing around the phrase, you know, back to basics, as we were asking each other what core elements made the Legend of Zelda games fun.
By pursuing why Zelda games are fun, you boil it down and make it denser. That's what this new game is about, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, and that's why we need all the things like story and world design. And as we, you know, pull these things together, we add more and more to make sure people can, you know, fully enjoy the game. I feel the process is working. I feel it firsthand that things are coming together nicely. As you start playing and enjoying the game, all these elements will, you know, gradually fill up your experience. And I think that's what it's going to feel like, you know, when you play. And, you know, that's what I want people to enjoy when they're playing the game.